So Madam Chair of the Board, Madam Chancellor, Madam President, members of the Board and faculty, graduates, and honored guests. It gives me enormous pleasure to have received an honorary degree from this university. Ever since early childhood, Mount St. Vincent has been of great interest to me. We passed it often on our way to Bedford, a structure large and mysterious, standing there among the trees, overlooking Bedford Basin. I soon discovered that it was full of nuns, also mysterious to me, as they walked to and fro in their simple but compelling habits. And I also found out that in that building, some sort of learning was taking place. I didn't know then that it was a groundbreaking university in terms of offering higher education to women. But it was therefore intriguing for me, much later, to discover that my husband's mother had gone to the Mount during her high school years, and that she had loved it, forming a peer friendship that would span her lifetime. Initially shy and lonely, she also benefited from the guidance and warmth of Sister Frances de Sales, the nun who set up the famous MacDonald Rare Book Collection in your library. I like to think of this significant connection that my mother-in-law had with that unusual woman. Later, my sister Joan would attend the Mount in order to earn her B.Ed, as soon as her 5 children were old enough for her to spend that much time away from home. She also loved attending the Mount and used her degree to teach elementary school for many satisfying years. After I became a writer, quite late in life, I visited the Mount several times in order to talk with the education students about creative writing and about children's literature. I felt much admiration for your Faculty of Education and its teachers, and always enjoyed my visits. More recently, I've been participating in the research project of the Education Department's Dr. Patricia Guthrow on the significance of fiction writing in relationship to citizenship through the lens of lifelong learning. It is therefore a particular pleasure for me to be sharing this convocation ceremony with students who are graduating from the Department of Education. Soon after I discovered that I was to be given this honor, I was asked to give the address to the graduates. I was told that it was usually a speech of no more than 10 or 15 minutes, so you can set your watches, offering, quote, words of inspiration and wisdom to the students, end quote. This was a daunting piece of information to receive. However, my husband was a university professor for 34 years, so I have attended many convocations and heard a lot of addresses to the graduates containing wise and inspiring words. Maybe I could remember some of them. In these speeches, the graduates were often urged to apply themselves to their jobs with proper diligence, to live their lives in accordance with the higher aims and philosophies of their university, to continue to aim for integrity and excellence in every aspect of their new lives, and so on. Most of those are worthy aims, and I wish for many of those goals for you. Although I admit to feeling that an obsessive concentration on excellence in all things, can sometimes take the spark out of a piece of creativity or lessen the number of things you can do with your life. It can also be a significant burden for the nervous system. You will have to work on that yourselves, achieving the kind of balance that seems right for you. And probably a wise balancing of options is one of the many positive things you have learned in this university. Although all of you are receiving education degrees today, I realize that not all of you will be teaching in schools or universities. There are just not enough jobs available to allow this to happen. But the whole of life can be an educational journey, and all of you are equipped to be teachers in the broadest sense of the word, no matter what you do or where you go. Almost everyone I meet teaches me something about life that I need to know, even if it is about how not to live it. No one is just a warm body. All people think and talk and live in a certain way. And you, with your Mount background of sensitive and insightful teaching, will be uniquely fitted to play many important educational roles in your lives. I hope that you might emphasize two things in your capacity as human beings who happen to be educated as teachers. They are two things. One is praise, and one is play. Most of us who are above the age of 40, and maybe less, have vivid memories of being scolded or punished when our efforts have fallen short of what was expected of us. We have colored outside the lines, split infinitives, hit the wrong key on the piano, played in the mud in our best clothes. We've all been scolded by teachers, basketball coaches, parents. Scolding seems to have been something that everyone knew how to do. And it's true that in certain areas of life or training, we certainly need to know the rules. The accepted standards of grammar, for instance, are essential tools for the writer. Learning all the scales is necessary for the piano player. The ballet dancer needs to be familiar with all the positions of both feet and fingers. But it's amazing how many rules and regulations can be learned through a generous application of praise. A child will learn to tie his shoes more quickly if he is praised for his efforts. A wife is more apt to become a skillful and imaginative cook if she is praised for her meals. In grade 11, I had an English teacher who was very firm and demanding. We had to learn the rules. She was also a storehouse of interesting and inspiring information about all aspects of literature. She knew how to make Shakespeare speak to us. We all loved her and admired her as a person and as a teacher. She required a good grounding in grammar, but in creative work, she left us totally free of constraints. And she did give us many writing assignments. For one of these, she asked us to write a short story. When she handed these back to us, she said, in front of the whole class, "Budge, I wish I could write stories as well as you can." Can you imagine how that sounded To my astonished ears, she had humbled herself in front of the entire class in order to praise me. 34 years later, at the age of 50, I suddenly decided to become a writer. I'm still amazed by the mindless arrogance of that decision. I even thought I'd make money at it. I had had no training as a writer, and I had no plans to attend creative writing workshops or short courses in writing. No, I was just going to sit down and do it. After 6 years of rejection slips and letters of regret, I finally had a book accepted and published. So it had been a long road to travel. But I never stopped hearing that teacher's words ringing in my ears. She gave me a confidence that defies understanding, even my understanding. But somewhere along that seemingly endless journey, with no book in sight, I did win a prize. I won first prize in the annual CBC short fiction competition. After my initial shock at hearing that news, I wanted to share my elation with someone. I lifted the phone, but it was not to my mother or my husband or my daughters that I called. I phoned that grade 11 teacher. I knew that in some way or other, it was she who had given me that award. And she did it with her extraordinary words of praise in one sentence containing just 11 words. When she answered the phone, I thanked her for the prize. There's one other thing that I'd like you all to remember in your future lives, regardless of what direction you may choose to follow. University life usually involves a lot of parties and fun, as well as hard work. At university, we know how to play, and we do a lot of it. I urge you not to forget how to do this. Play is not a bad word. It is at the root of creativity, and creativity is at the root of mental health. Choreographers know this. So do the music composer, the painter, the writer. If ill health or other general commitments prevent me from writing for a long time, I start to feel like a jigsaw puzzle whose pieces have broken apart from one another, upside down, unconnected, fallen onto the floor. As soon as I start a new piece of creative writing, I can feel those pieces sorting themselves out, turning right side up, coming together to make a picture. And I think that the picture is me, feeling whole again, functioning. The new MRI brain technology and research have shown that creativity improves brain circuitry. It apparently also benefits the brain as a whole, just as physical exercise increases the health of the body. And creativity is involved in more than just art forms. It can trigger new ways of approaching educational or medical research. It can also put in motion a lot of innovative business models. Therefore, if you've learned how to have fun at the Mount, how to laugh out loud, how to play, recognize its potential value and remember how to do it. You may not end up as some form of famous artist, educational celebrity, or business tycoon, but you will have wiser and more balanced lives than if you choose to center only on ambition and a narrow achievement, important though those may be. So, I congratulate all of you as you pick up your degrees and go forth into your new lives. I wish for you pleasure in your work, inner peace, and personal fulfillment. If you have found a way to praise other people, play, and be creative, in my opinion, you are already more than halfway there. Thank you.